Welcome back to another video from SkiBoatPartsOnline.com. I'm Ron, and this week we're going to take a look at finishing the paintwork and applying some decals. Here is where we left off at the last paint episode. Our base color is laid down and our accent pink has been laid down in our urethanes, and now we're getting ready to scuff sand and apply the clear. We're not going to actually show any of the spraying of the clear because it's clear and you can't see it. All you see is a foggy haze in the shop. But the book calls for 2 wet coats of the clear urethane, so that's what we put down on the deck first, and then we're going to do the hull. Our deck clear is down, and now we're getting ready to do the sides, the hull sides. What we've done is sanded and scuff sanded with 500 grit paper the entire sides of the boat. That'll remove any surface imperfections in the colors and get it nice and flat again, getting ready for the clear to go down. Before I shot the hull sides, we covered up the deck. That was yesterday. Now we've shot both heavy coats of clear on the hull sides. The next step afterwards is going to let this cure for as long as you can. In this case, we had other jobs that needed to come in the shop for a few days, so we rolled the boat outside, put it back on its trailer, and let it sit outside for about 5-6 days for that clear to get nice and cured and hard before we wet sanded or block sanded and then buffed. Okay, all the clear has been applied, and now we're going to start block sanding, and we're going to just show you the transom area, all the steps that are going to go into the block sanding and finishing. We're using 1000 grit sandpaper with a soapy water solution. That keeps the surface temperature cooler. It also keeps the sandpaper from clogging up. But this is 1000 grit paper that we're starting with. Now we've switched from 1000 grit paper to 1500 grit paper. After the 1500 will come our first buffing compounds. Why do we wet sand the clear? To make it nice and flat and remove any orange peel. Okay, next we're going to go with some compound. Now this is a coarse compound. It's about 1000 grit compound it's rated for, or sold as, with a wool pad on the buffer. This is the first of 3 steps on the buffing process. Keep in mind that everything we're showing on the transom has already been done on the hull side, each step. So this is a tedious process that takes a few days to do. You can see that the clear is really starting to gloss up already with this first step. Also note that I like to work in about a 2 or 3 square foot area at a time. Take a paintbrush and paint some of the compound onto the surface and just work that area until you're finished with it, and then move to the next. Always keep your buffer moving. Don't ever stop, especially on paint. Gel coat is more forgiving. It'll take the heat. But on urethanes and paints, you really have to be conscious of the heat buildup. You don't want to burn through the paint. Compound number 2 is much thinner and finer. Also, they're going to recommend that you change from a wool pad on the buffer to a foam pad, and even the foam pads are rated in different coarseness. From this supplier, the white is the more coarse of the pads in foam. Also, I'll take the compound now, since it's thinner and less viscous. I'll actually just squirt a little bit on the pad, swirl it around on the surface before I start buffing it down.
the last step. The last step is actually waxing. So this is the final buffing. Change the pad from the white pad to the black pad if you didn't notice. It's a really, really fine compound.
Okay, we're just about done here. The block sanding with 1000 grit wet has been done. Block sanding with 1500 grit wet has been done. Machine compounding with the coarse compound is done, and with a wool pad. Machine compounding with a medium compound on the white pad is finished, and now we've got the final compound, which is using a black fine pad, and a fine compound is done. And now I'm just using a clean Turkish towel to clean any residual film that's on the surface. If you notice, there's a bright light off to the corner. It kind of messes up our video, but it's really there to help the operator run the either the sanding and or the buffing. You want a light off to the side that's bright, that's shining down with the right angle, so you can see what you're doing and what you're getting. But now she's just as slick and shiny and flat as can be. No orange peel anywhere. And next is going to be some decal. Oh, there's looking down the side. It's awfully reflective there. You can see everything in the reflection. It's so clean and clear. But next is going to be decal installation.
To apply the decals, you want a clean, oil-free surface. This is brand new paint, so there better not be any oil on it. We're still going to go ahead and take soapy water and wipe it down in the area we're going to work. Alcohol is another material. You can use alcohol, that works really well. But on brand new paint, that's all we need is soapy water. Alright, what you're going to want to do is lay the decal up there dry. Take a tape measure and measure the length of the decal and mark your center point. That's going to be visually lined up with the ski toe. Okay? Alright, you're going to want to peel the backing off the decal. There's a tack paper still on the front holding it all together. Now with the same soapy water solution, spray the decal. And you're going to spray the boat. Get it good and slippery. You're going to line that center line up. Hold her pretty close. Alright, we've got our center lined up. We want to make sure that she's 3 7/8 on that side. You got to come down just a hair. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. And squeegee all that water out. Now the trick is to let it sit on there for as long as you can take it. I know you want to peel the paper off right away, you see how it looks, but that soapy water really needs to evaporate a little bit. And it takes some time. If you're doing this out in the hot sun, it'll go a lot quicker, but I really don't recommend doing it in the hot sun. Alright, now we're going to get the next one.
Okay.
All right. All right, we're going to let that sit for a few minutes. But our center lines are lined up, and they look not only measured right, but they got to look right. Now we'll let that dry.
To install the large hull side, the sweeps decal we call this, go ahead and dry fit it. Use some masking tape to temporarily hold it on there to get your positioning exactly where you want it. Next, I take a piece of masking tape and put a little mark on the masking tape and on the backing of the decal. That's an index mark, so when I peel this off, I know exactly where I've got to put it. Here our decal is placed exactly where I want it with the index marks ready to position it. Hull side has been wetted down with the soapy water along with the back side of the decal. It's been positioned, indexed with our marks, and from the center working out, I squeegee out all the water next. Okay, the backing paper has been removed. You still see I have the index mark left up there. But if you notice, the sweeps decal is a square cut, but our transom has a rake angle to it. That we're going to clean up and address with the border tapes that are going to go around next. Upper and lower border stripes are going on next. These are 1/2 inch wide. There's in this case, a teal green and a darker green. Now these are installed dry. You'll start at the back and work in 4 or 5 foot sections and taking your time getting it nice and straight. Here I'm beginning the 2 lower stripes. The trick to this is to work in as long of a stretch as you can and just barely tap it down about every foot or so, and then look down the length and see if it's straight before you press it in. You still have time to pull it off and straighten it out. Now the 2 aft tapes that are going to go vertical here, this is where we're going to hide and address the decal, one being square and the hull transom having a rake angle to it. These stripes will try to mask or cover up the sweeps decal. Here is the second stripe getting dry fit on there. You can see where it's beginning to square off and look like it's supposed to be. Next is the bird decal. These are exact reproductions of the originals. This is the port side. The bird is always looking forward. And here we have our starboard side deco bird installed on the boat. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this phase. We're going to give you a quick look at the progress so far with the paint on and the decals on. The American Skier decal we do not have on the boat. We stock that in white and in black, but this boat actually needs the light gray, so they have been ordered, and that will be one of the last things that goes on the boat is the word American Skier in the gray decal. But here she is rolling out for the first time with her shiny new paint and the new graphics installed. Looks as good or better than the original one. Even the birds are singing in the background when they looked at that deco bird come out of the shop.